Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros. I talk about politics, sports, and entertainment to keep you well rounded. What's going on around the world? If you don't like hearing the truth, definitely don't tune into this channel. So let's get started today. So, Candace Owens, she sends out a tweet, and the tweet says, "Don't worry about the gag order in the Charlie Kirk case. I plan to violate it on the world's behalf. The things I've discovered this past week are enough to burn the house down. Yes, Charlie was betrayed by everyone. We all know this. Charlie Kirk's assassination stinks to high hell. Remember, they concreted and paved over the crime scene. They also knocked down the Dairy Queen that Tyler Robinson was spotted in. I believe that was done to get rid of all the prints. I don't understand how you could just concrete over a crime scene and the investigation still is not done. And a lot of people are hating on Candace Owens for sending out this tweet. And I've said this on many occasions. We all should wish that we had a friend like Candace Owens in our life. She's refusing to turn the page on Charlie Kirk's assassination because she knows this thing stinks to high hell. I don't know how anybody can criticize Candace in this moment for being a loyal friend to Charlie Kirk and going down all avenues and exploring all avenues into who assassinated Charlie Kirk. If you try to look me in the eye and tell me that this thing doesn't stink to high hell, you're just a liar. You're a lying piece of garbage and somebody is paying you. And you're not a conspiracy theorist because you don't believe what you see. And what I see from the time Charlie Kirk's been assassinated is the most shadiest things that I've ever seen in my entire life. Knocking down the Dairy Queen, pouring concrete over the crime scene. The prosecutors, the doctors, everybody is brand new on this case. Go figure, everybody's brand new on this case. The hospital that Charlie was brought to, why wasn't he brought to the hospital closer? They brought him to a different hospital where a new doctor was just hired. Everything stinks to high hell in this case. And then a judge puts a gag order, and the judge says, "Oh, I want Tyler Robinson to have a fair trial." No, sure. No, you don't. You just don't want powerful figures like Candace Owens making people say, you know what, let me give myself a timeout. Let me give myself a pause and really look at the evidence and look at everything that's going on here. And then it stinks to high hell. They don't want people to. They want everybody to just turn the page. Oh, Tyler Robinson did it. He was an angry tranny that just decided to murder Charlie Kirk because he didn't agree with what Charlie Kirk was saying. I don't believe for a minute that Tyler Robinson carried this assassination out at all. I don't believe it for a second. And Candace Owens is being a loyal friend to Charlie Kirk, even after death. And if you have a problem with that, then there's something wrong with you. I don't care if Candace Owens is wrong about every single thing. From what we know so far, none of this adds up at all. The way that the crime scene's been completely just washed away. Charlie Kirk was killed with a small caliber bullet. Because if Charlie Kirk was assassinated with a 30-06, I assure you, his head would have been rolling on the floor. Oh, but let's not forget that story that was put out by the Christian pastors that Charlie Kirk was the man of steel. And even in death, he saved people. Right. So now Charlie Kirk is literally Superman and his neck was made out of steel and it stopped the bullet. That's what they want you to believe. It was a miracle before your eyes. Right. Okay. And I'm Santa Claus. This entire assassination stinks to high hell. And I don't believe what the media or the authorities or our government are telling us for 1 second about Charlie Kirk's assassination. There's another post going around on X saying Charlie Kirk was assassinated 6 years, 66 days after his podcast was released. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. Charlie Kirk's first podcast was released Sunday, July 7th, 2019 to Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. That's 6 years and 66 days. This video examines Google searches made before a potential assassination attempt related to Charlie Kirk. Expert weighs in on the implications and context. Let's jump into this video.
Guest says that Google search terms showed an interest in many terms related to Charlie Kirk's assassination before the actual September 10th assassination. James Lee from the 5149 show on YouTube is reporting that Google Trends showed the following terms had been trending before Kirk was assassinated in two different places, Washington, D.C., and also in a foreign nation, you may have heard of them, called Israel. Here's a list of some of the things that he and others have found were trending prior to September 10th. Tyler James Robinson, the airplane, the Losi Center, which is the rooftop where the shooter allegedly was, the weapon, the hospital where he was taken, these doctors, the medical examiner. Now, a lot of this came originally from the Real Baron podcast, and then our next guest has furthered this by searching into Google Trends for himself. So thank you so much, James, for joining us for the first time on Redacted.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Pleasure. I think you did a really good job with this. So can you explain to us the idea that these search terms peaked in different regions before the assassination in critical time periods?
Well, I asked Google this question. I said, hey, what does this mean, in terms of these search terms, right? And I pulled up, I asked Google, okay, can you analyze some of these results? What do they mean? And they say, okay, they gave me two options. One of them being that, hey, you see all these search terms, like you just showed your audience, the Tyler Robinson, Losi, Center, Mauser 98, et cetera, et cetera. So they said the strongest interpretation of this is some kind of non-organic activity, likely originating from a small number of users. And it said that it was potentially for reconnaissance or verification, a small number, a small group of people, or a single individual, potentially someone involved or aware of the planning of the assassination, was using Google to conduct online reconnaissance or verification. And then the second option that they gave me, very interesting, they said it was, this is highly unlikely. They call this a remote interpretation, extraordinary coincidence, in that somebody in Israel or relative close contact was somehow searching up the hospital, the head medical examiner, all of these surgeons, just by happenstance.
You know what that's called? That's called evidence. That's called leaving a trace. See, crime is done differently in 2025 because of technology. So the people involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination, they left prints at the crime scene by doing this Google search. And we all know it. And we all know exactly what happened. The two entities Googling all this stuff, the United States government and the Israeli government. Because in order for the Israeli government to operate on American soil, the American government has to be aware. But you're all mad at Candace Owens. You're all mad at Candace Owens for trying to get to the bottom of it. And you're going to say, oh, you're an anti-Semite. Listen, I don't hate Jewish people. I don't hate Israel. And I don't hate Palestine. I've said this multiple times. I don't care what either side does to each other. I don't think America should be involved in their nonsense at all. I don't think our soldiers should be involved. I think we should just build a fence over there and let those two sides go at it. And whatever happens, happens. And that's their business. That's exactly how I feel about it. I'm not on either side. I don't care. You know who I care about? I care about America, American citizens, and Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I know exactly who was behind it. Because if you stop it and you give yourself a timeout, and you put all this evidence together, it stinks to high hell. And every single one of you know it. And instead of giving yourself and doing some real research, it's easier just to hate Candace Owens for being a real friend to Charlie Kirk. I don't want to hear that I'm an anti-Semite or I'm for Palestine. I'm not for either side. I don't care if Israel wipes them off the map. I could care less. Palestinians and Islam, they're no friend to America, Americans. They don't want to assimilate into our culture. They tell us point blank when they come here. We're not coming here to assimilate. We're not coming here to live peacefully with you. We're coming here to take over. They tell you that. It's not my words. That's what they say. And as far as how Israel wants to handle their business with them, I don't care. But nobody's ever going to make me believe that Charlie Kirk's assassination, that it doesn't stink to high hell. Because it does. Just like the first picture that they released of Charlie Kirk's assassin, you really think that's Tyler Robinson in that picture? Just give me a break. All of Charlie Kirk's security team was Israeli, and the guy in that picture is Israeli also. And Charlie Kirk was not killed with a large caliber bullet. He was killed with a small caliber bullet. And if you had this much firearms knowledge, you would know that. You know what Charlie Kirk's biggest mistake was? Taking $250 million from Israeli donors and letting them build his business. That's what Charlie Kirk's biggest mistake was. And if Charlie Kirk didn't take that money, he'd still be alive today. And that's why I always say it's very important that you build your own business, that you don't take money from people unless you're going to be totally for the people that gave you the money. Once you accept somebody's money in a business arrangement like that, they got you on the hook for the rest of your life. You better follow orders. When somebody gives you $250 million, $300 million and build your business, and you think you're going to turn around and badmouth them in public and go against everything that they want you to say, and you don't think that you're going to end up getting your life taken, it's a lot of money. So when you build a business or you have a podcast or you have a YouTube channel, you better build it yourself. You better not lay down with dogs unless you want to catch fleas sometimes. You better do everything on your own so you could speak freely. You could tell your version of events how you want to tell them so you're not bought. And that was Charlie Kirk's biggest mistake. I'm not saying he deserved what he got, but that's the motive of why Charlie Kirk is no longer here. So then the other day, President Trump, he comes out and he tells Hamas, if you don't stop executing Palestinians, we're going to come over there and we're going to get rid of you. And here's the question I have for President Trump. Why can't Israel handle that situation? You gave them enough weapons to handle the situation. Why does the American military have to go into Palestine and kill Hamas for the Israeli government because they're executing their own citizens? Why don't you look at Benjamin Netanyahu and be like, it's on you. You take care of it. I've given you enough weapons to deal with it. It's really insane what's going on here. It's just insane. At what point does President Trump say, hey, handle that? So Israel sits back and lets Hamas execute Palestinians. And then they turn and look at America and they tell President Trump, like, oh, you're going to step in? You should handle that. Why don't they handle it? Why don't they use their military to handle it? It's just sickening already. President Trump needs to just watch. There is never going to be peace in that region. I said it'll be 10 months or less. The other day I made a video and I said that peace treaty won't last. It'll last 10 months or less. It wasn't even 2 days and the treaty's been broke. At what point does President Trump say, you know what? We give you $4 billion a year. We give you all these weapons. It's time for you to handle your own problems. Handle it. We're done. There's never going to be peace in that region. So all President Trump is doing in the United States government is wasting time, wasting money, and the most important thing is wasting American lives fighting in wars that they don't need to be fighting in. Benjamin Netanyahu's a big boy. I mean, they just killed hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. So why does President Trump have to give Hamas a warning and say, we're going to come over there and take care? Why doesn't Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel take care of it? It's just sickening already. How can the United States of America, a country that's trillions of dollars in debt, give Argentina $40 billion, give Israel billions of dollars, give Ukraine billions and trillions of dollars, but the United States of America is trillions of dollars in debt? Oh, there's something wrong with me? There's something wrong with me for pointing this out? When does it end? When is President Trump going to address the problems that American citizens are having? Property tax, tax in general, sales tax, being taxed to death, everything overpriced. Does President Trump have any answers for that? Or no? We're just slaves to all these other countries that we give billions of dollars to, all while we suffer in America where we can barely pay our bills and it's hard to survive here. So we could subsidize the entire world after voting for President Trump to be president of the United States. And President Trump hasn't addressed the American public, not once in the last few months, to tell us what he's going to do for us in America. Nope, it's about Ukraine. It's about Israel. It's about Argentina. It's about everybody else but dumb Americans and America. Now, I don't feel that way about us, but that's the way they look at us. And how do I know that? Follow the money. Where's the money go? It's not going to me, you, your neighbor. Your taxes aren't coming down. Gas prices aren't going down. It's going out of the country to take care of other people. While they have free health care, while they get free college, while they get a secure border, our country falls apart from within. And I am absolutely sick of it. So Adam Sosnick today, he's on the Patrick Bet-David show, and him and Vinny get into a spat. You have to listen to this, go back and forth. Vinny and Adam start talking about Gaza and Israel and Palestinians, and you have to watch Adam's response.
And that's what we'll do. So let me tell you what happened. So part of it was that they used the word, they said, did the president force him to apologize? They said, no, he didn't force him. You sure it wasn't forced? No, he says that's what you call diplomacy. And Jared says that with a smile on his face, right? There's a smile on his face when he's saying that. And then the other part is when there's an exchange and they're talking about, Vinny, maybe you tell this part of the story where Witkoff is sitting there talking to one of the Hamas leaders.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, and by the way, it was a fantastic interview by both of them. He's sitting there, and Witkoff says they walk into the room in the Qatar. So it's the Hamas negotiator, I guess. Well, I mean, if they trust him enough, I don't know what his involvement is, Pat. Like what his level of Hamas, if he's in Hamas. But there was a moment where he reveals that during Israel's attack in Qatar, that this negotiator's son was killed in the attack. And then he had a moment with him. Yeah, that's the guy's name right there, Rob. What's his name?
It doesn't say his name. That's just the.
Vinny, I got a real problem with what you're doing here right now. Like, you're trying to humanize this guy. You're really trying to humanize a Hamas leader. Just give me a break. This man is responsible for children, women, all types. Like, really, Vinny? Is this the best you could do, humanizing this piece of garbage? He should be wiped off the face of the planet with the rest of the Hamas organization. And I don't have a problem that Israel wants them gone. I have a problem that Israel wants America to do it. Well, why doesn't Israel get their hands dirty and handle this mess themselves? But don't humanize this piece of garbage, Vinny. Oh, what a touching moment, Vin. Maybe you can have him over to babysit your kids.
But that's who he is. That's who he is. So then they had a moment because Steve Witkoff, had a moment because he goes, we share something in common. My son at 22 years old died of an opioid overdose. And even Jared Kushner says there was a moment, he goes, I wish that there was a camera in the room to capture such a human moment, which actually made them connect. And then he's saying at the end of this negotiation,
you know what, Vin? Maybe you can have all these Hamas leaders move next door to you, and there's like 80 of them in your neighborhood. Maybe you'll change your tune. What a moment, Vin. What a moment for humanity. The Hamas leaders had a moment. Oh, that's cute, Vin. Very cute. You know, I'd like to have a special moment with the Hamas leaders, and I guarantee it wouldn't be pretty.
People in the room were hugging each other. Like, it was a moment of like, finally, we did it, and it's over. We're going to get the hostages back, and there was a peace. So there was a great moment. But then, Pat, going back to what he said Trump felt that the Israelis were getting a little bit.
Hold on. Have you ever seen the prisoners, what they look like when the Israeli prisoners are released? Oh, yeah, Vin. These Hamas leaders are wonderful people. What a effing clown. You're trying to humanize like Patrick Bet-David threw him the alley-oop. Come on, humanize the Hamas leaders for us, Vin. Give us your best shot. Come on, little boy, do a good job. Right, okay. I don't trust PBD at all. At all.
Out of control, said Kushner. It was time to be very strong and stop them from doing things that he felt were not in their long-term interest. And that's what he was saying.
Gotta love it. By the way, and how do you feel now, Vinny, about where Kushner and...
You gotta love it? What am I missing here? You gotta love a Hamas leader having an emotional moment? There's only one place Hamas leaders belong, and that's in hell. Because they're not human beings. That's why.
Witkoff for at. What is your feeling about Kushner and Witkoff?
And again, Pat, all we do, because I didn't really do the research of who Witkoff was. I know Kushner, especially with Ivanka, they weren't going to be involved with the thing, with the whole administration. But now that it's coming back, now that I'm seeing at least the diplomacy, at least like, bro, they're going to talk to these guys to try to make peace, and then still having the decency to call out Israel, still calling out Bibi Netanyahu when it's wrong. Like, for him to say, it felt, because when he's saying Israelis, he's basically saying Bibi was getting a little out of control. He goes, it's time to be very strong and stop. Like, bro, you got to stop. Like, Trump is over here busting his ass, trying to get a peace deal, and you're doing this. For them to say that,
it's all a waste of time. It's a waste of American money. It's a waste of American weapons. It's a waste of time as usual. And it's America last as usual, because there's never going to be peace in that region, ever.
big props.
By the way, on the podcast, we talked about it. If you remember when I said, what is the likelihood that Trump forced him to apologize? I think everybody here said 100%.
Yep.
If you remember that,
Yes.
right? Well, of course, he's going to say, what are you doing? You want me to go negotiate a peace deal for you, but you're doing something like this and getting in the way? Rob, what is this here? Is this, they're giving the update on a phase 2?
This is Fox News yesterday reporting that Witkoff and Vance are heading to Israel for phase 2 of the summit.
Go for it.
Two of this ceasefire agreement of this peace deal was always going to be the bigger challenge.
Something with audio, Rob.
Vice President J.D. Vance was optimistic last week that the ceasefire agreement was the beginning of what he suggested was a new chapter.
You can pause it. You can pause it right there. Okay, so what are your thoughts, Tom, when you're hearing this? What are you thinking?
Well, first of all, it feels like Jared Kushner is 4 years wiser. It feels like the administration is 4 years wiser. And Witkoff feels like a very steady hand in these things. And it feels like this was there's two types of deal teams. One type of deal team is they know that they sell the heroin and you need heroin because you're an addict. And there's nothing to it. The other type of deal, by the way, it happens in business too. You know, you get held up by key suppliers and things like this. The other type in the deal team is you really are trying to, as a very famous book says, getting to yes, and working through concessions that are necessary and things that make sense. Not getting to yes at
God, Tom, sometimes watching you, it's like getting a root canal with no Novocaine. Can you please just get to it?
any cost, but getting to yes at the costs that are acceptable for the betterment of all people. And Jared Kushner said something that I thought was very, very strong, where he said, we thought the Israelis were doing things that were not in their own best interest long term.
Yeah.
And part about being an intermediator here is like, look, I know you're going to say to the end of time, you were attacked on October 7th, you know, Hamas bad, you're bombing them back to the Stone Age. I get it. But
Hold on a minute. Now, it's been proven that Benjamin Netanyahu has been funding Hamas with American money, millions of dollars. He's been funding them because he knows they were capable of this. It's been confirmed, multiple people, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, everybody knows that Israel has been giving Hamas money, which is just mind-blowing because it's probably American taxpayers' money. Now, I'm not excusing their behavior on October 7th. It doesn't matter if there was a stand-down order. It doesn't matter if money was transferred. These people still had the capability and the hate in their hearts to do what they did, murder and rape and do what they did. They poked the bear, and now they're getting the worst of it. And that's why America just needs to be like, there's too much shady garbage going on here. We are done. We are going to mind our own business. Handle it. If I'm President Trump, I tell Benjamin Netanyahu, handle it. Goodbye.
you're doing some of these other things that aren't going to help you what you want, which is to get peace here and to figure this out. And so I was impressed by what appears to be a very steady hand in Witkoff, and what a constant reminder of what we had with Anthony Blinken. And
Oh
how
my God.
different this
Day-
is
day
now.
and night.
That when you have the right guy on your team, and so I think that Trump's got the right team together, and I think
really?
it really feels like Jared Kushner is 4 years wiser. I don't mean that he was
You know when Trump will have the right team together? When he starts putting American taxpayers first. I don't want to hear about a rebate check in the mail for $1,000. What the F is $1,000 going to do for your life? I want real solutions and answers to Americans for Americans' problems. Like everybody's just so Tom. Oh, they're working on world peace. It's a waste of time, and we all know it's a waste of time. And he takes 20 minutes to answer. What do you think, Tom? And Tom goes into a 30-minute spiel, tells you absolutely nothing. You know what I think? I think it's a complete waste of time. And I think enough American taxpayer money and weapons and everything else has been given away at the American taxpayers' expense, and it needs to stop now. That's what I think.
Uninformed or incapable 4 years ago. I mean, he's got 4 more years of experience in the machine and out there with
Adam,
these
where are you at
deals.
with this?
That's where I'm at.
So everything comes down to let's make a deal. And this is why Trump is so important, because as much as we always heard that, like, we want a businessman
PBD's like, God, Tom, I threw you a softball and you still just can't answer the question. It took you 45 minutes to tell me absolutely nothing.
in the office. We wanted the businessman in the office. We can't have just a normal politician. There's some credibility to that. Because if we haven't learned anything, everything is about let's make a deal.
Here comes the other schmuck. Adam makes the show unwatchable. So he's the worst one by far.
It's a peace deal, whether it's a trade deal, whether it's a tariff deal, whether it's a hostage deal. The whole reason that Trump was able to manufacture this deal, because he used leverage on each one of these countries to say, Turkey, you want this. Qatar, you want this. Egypt wants this. Jordan wants this. Let's forget the fact.
You know how I would negotiate with these countries? You know what the negotiation would be really simple. Listen, fellas, I'm getting tired of the bullshit that goes on over here. So everybody better get their effing you know what together. Because I'm not spending another dollar on anybody here. You're going to learn to take care of your own problems. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't want to know. I'm getting on my plane. I'm going back to America. And I'm going to fight for my people. So get your shit together and have a great day. And if any of you think about doing anything stupid on American soil, like sending terrorists or any of your other garbage, you're going to wish you were never born. That would be the message.
Fact that, Egypt, you have a huge, massive wall keeping out the Gazans, but let's not focus on that. Jordanians, you want nothing to do with the Gazans. All right, cool. Qatar, what do you want? So he uses this envoy of Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, incredibly capable guys. Are you freaking kidding me what these guys were able to do? And they didn't stop until they made a deal. Now, to me, Qatar is the linchpin here, because Qatar basically marries oil and wealth and just richness with jihad sympathizing.
Remember one thing. We have enough oil in America. We don't need anybody's oil. But we don't drill, baby, drill anymore. We don't hear Trump talk about drill, baby, drill to bring down those gas prices. Let's worry about Qatar.
And a home base for Hamas. So to me, is Qatar guilty of sending money elsewhere, sowing discord, doing all these horrible things? At the same time, I can also recognize that they're going to need Qatar to actually talk with the terrorists to bring back the hostages, which they were able to do. So in this instance, what they were upset was they said, dude, you just blew up whatever you did in Qatar. We need them to come to the table.
Yeah.
Whereas Bibi Netanyahu is basically saying, we're getting attacked from Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Syria, left, right, center. These guys are harboring terrorists. We're going to take them out. And sometimes you need someone like a Kushner or a Witkoff who's on sort of Team Israel side saying, guys, that is sort of cutting off your nose to spite your face because we need their help. Now, it's sort of like a frenemy is how I would label Qatar. They're not a full ally, but they're definitely not an enemy. And we need them to bring brought to the fold to help bring GDP, not GDT.
Do you hear this stupidity? Do you hear this dumb shit? Do you hear this? But America has to be involved with this? Why? Look how many homeless people we have here. Look how many illegals we have here. Look at our border here. Look at our economy here. Look at the minimum wage here. Look at our living conditions. Our infrastructure, the roads, buildings. There's states all over the country that don't even have clean drinking water, don't have good housing, don't have good bridges and infrastructure. But we're worried about effing Qatar.
Gross domestic terrorism to the Middle East.
Did you guys? But I called that. I don't think the peace deal was going to last that long because Israel struck yesterday. Did you
Yeah, it lasted 2 days. Congratulations, President Trump. Keep up the great work.
guys know that? Yesterday and the day before, Tom and Rafa, they struck Gaza and temporarily halted aid, saying Hamas broke the truce. So both sides were pointing
Wait,
fingers.
you're leaving out the
No,
initial part of the story, though, Vin.
No, I'm not leaving out. You didn't, Adam.
The
I
whole
talked
point
for
is two
20
Israeli soldiers were killed.
Okay,
Oh, we knew this was coming from Adam. You know, if somehow, some way, it won't be Israel's fault, no matter what. It gets better. Don't worry.
And they
So-
retaliated.
So are you ready for this? I'm happy that you said that. If you
Yeah.
let me say my whole point. Israel, both sides are pointing fingers. Israel saying Hamas killed 2 of its soldiers. They came out of the tunnel or something. Hamas is saying that a bulldozer was driving and drove over ordnance and it blew up. Okay? So, Adam, which gets to my point. Whatever version is, whoever's telling the truth, whatever it is, it proves one thing. There's never going to be peace there as long as Hamas is still around. Okay? They allowed them to stay. I get the peace deal and you got your.
This is where Vinny's wrong because the Palestinian people voted Hamas into power. So obviously they share the same beliefs. But hey, Vin, don't worry. I mean, that doesn't matter.
We got the hostages back, right? Why would you ever negotiate with terrorists at this point? Once they got the terrorist pack, this is my opinion, they should have gone full offensive, flood the tunnels, bunker buster, kill all of Hamas root and stem. But they didn't, and they let them. By the way, didn't they release like 1,200 people, or 600 of them might have been
Prisoners.
terrorists? It's like, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense, Adam. Releasing terrorists and then acting surprised.
No, it makes perfect sense when you find out that Benjamin Netanyahu's been funding Hamas, because when they attack Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu's game plan is, oh, if they attack us, we'll get America and the rest of the world on our side. It makes perfect sense, Vin, if you're paying attention.
To do terrorist things again is like tossing a shark in a swimming pool and then expecting him, hoping that he turns into a vegetarian. It's not going to happen.
To Adam and Vinny, do we know which is which? I saw stories that went both ways that say that a small squad came out from underground and the Israeli soldiers were killed. And then I saw stories that said it was a bulldozer, and even the U.S. knew it was a bulldozer. But I haven't seen any definitive write-up by a reliable news source that has said exactly what was what. Either one of you seen that?
Not definitive, Tom. I saw something that was reporting. I'll send it to Rob.
Bottom line, there's never going to be peace there. So who gives a F, Tom? I mean, Tom, you can't figure it out. It's a waste of effing time. It's a waste of American taxpayers' money, weapons, and every other effing thing. We have our own problems here. Is that too much to handle in your brain, Tom?
The guy's name that something had to do with the Pentagon, saying that it might have been an unexploded ordnance from Israel that they drove over. But my point is going back to this, Adam, and I want to know your opinion really fast. I know Pat wants to go another story. You're leaving terrorists there. You negotiated. You got what you wanted. We got all the hostages back. Why not kill every single Hamas? Go on full offensive. I know they're Lebanon. They're doing stuff everywhere else, and I get that. Right now, you have the opportunity to wipe them the hell out. You got exactly what you wanted back. Flood the tunnels, bunker buster, kill the terror, just like Trump killed ISIS. You never hear ISIS. Done. Wipe them out. Because now it's almost you're just leaving an enemy hanging around there. Like,
well,
I don't understand.
Can I give you my quick answer? I'll do it in 30 seconds or less. Because Israel actually doesn't want to do a genocide.
This is the best part. Israel doesn't want to actually do a genocide. Now, again, I'm not for Palestine at all. Adam sits there with a straight face. Israel doesn't want to do a genocide? Oh, I guess the 500,000 people they just murdered, men, women, and children, that doesn't count as a genocide, Adam? I can't. He's just Adam Sosnick is just a piece of garbage. Just looking at his rat weasel face makes me sick.
And that's the whole conversation. Why aren't they going after the terrorists? Because the terrorists are embedded within the civilians. So the whole notion that they want to commit genocide, if they wanted to do that, they would just wipe out the whole country.
Wait, now Israel is concerned about Palestinian citizens? Really, Adam? Like, how could you say that with a straight face, Adam? And then he's trying to make it sound like Israel's the good guy because they're going door to door. Hey, any Hamas terrorist in here? Tell them they need to step to the front. We don't want to blow up your garden. Right. Gaza is literally like nothing but dust at this point. But hey, listen to Adam Sosnick. There's not an honest bone in this piece of garbage's body.
Adam, but hold on. But it's flat.
But that's the whole thing.
It's gone. Go in the tunnels.
Yeah, they're in the tunnels. The people are living in this squalor. Yeah, listen, Israel has gone out of their way to go door to door to door to door to find.
Always trying to make them sound like the good guy. Listen, I don't care how Israel handles it. I don't. Hamas poked the bear. Doesn't matter if there was a stand down order or not. Everybody knew that Benjamin Netanyahu has this type of temperament and capability. Hamas knew exactly what they were going to get in return. So it's not that I'm not defending them, but listening to this idiot talk, it tells you everything you need. He's trying to make it sound like, Israel did nothing wrong whatsoever. They're the good guys. They went door to door. Hamas shopping door to door. Yeah, they didn't do anything. I mean, the place is just a pile of dust, but it just happened. The wind blew.
And the hostages. Now that they have the hostages back, yeah, they maybe need to take a little bit more of a presumptuous, aggressive stance. But to me, the moral equivalency is so ridiculous. The fact that whose side did it, only one side is lining up their own people in a firing squad and murdering them.
And why is that?
Whereas
he's pointing fingers at Hamas for murdering their people. Meanwhile, his people just murdered about 500,000 of them. Don't you find this ironic? I can't stand Sosnick.
the other side is doing anything in their possibility
Adam, 'cause they
to go
let
get their hostages back.
Adam, 'cause they
to me,
let
the moral
terrorists
equivalency
alive.
is so stupid and unfounded that only morons can't see the difference between Hamas and the IDF.
Adam, they let-
and probably unfortunately, we have so many morons who don't understand that equivalency.
No, you know what it is, Adam? There's so many morons who don't want, I'm a moron because I want America to be first and not Israel. And I think that Israel should handle their own problems. So I'm a moron. And anybody who thinks that way is a moron too. It's just typical Sosnick. No, you're an effing moron, Adam. You know what, Adam? Why don't you go join the IDF and fight for your people? Oh, you would never do that because you're a coward, a weasel, a worm, and you don't have an honest bone in your body. Tough guy.
They're the ones calling Bibi Netanyahu Hitler. They're the same ones calling Trump a fascist and Hitler. To me, it's so stupid.
But you understand where
that
I'm
the
coming
people who
from?
are doing the Hamas defending and the people who are actually Hamas are the one in the wrong here.
But you understand what I'm saying, Adam? Kill the, like, you know why Hamas is shooting Palestinians in the street right now? Because Israel let Hamas thrive. They said, go ahead. We're going to let, all the people that were holding
So your
hostages.
solution is what? More murdering?
No, more murdering of what? Killing Hamas?
Oh, Adam, you know what? Benjamin Netanyahu, the IDF, the Israeli government, they're not about killing at all, all right? They're the good guys here. Listen, I don't care who the good guy is, who the bad guy is. I don't care if Israel wipes them off. I could care less. But don't talk to me like I'm an idiot and I can't see what's going on here, right? Oh, no, Israel didn't kill anybody. No, that's just your imagination. They just turned the place in the dust. And all the people that used to live there that are in the dust, no, that doesn't count because it's Israel, right, Adam?
Yes,
Okay,
Adam.
cool.
Because as long as Hamas is there, terrorism is going to happen.
You sound like a
Kill
pro-Israel guy,
Hamas.
Vinny.
Kill Hamas.
You sound like the most right-wing pro-Israel guy at this point.
I'm saying
So you
kill
gotta
the
pick a
terrorists.
side.
Kill terrorists. Bingo.
Oh, kill
them all.
terrorists? Okay, that's a
Not
good idea.
release them
I
back
agree
and
with
say,
you.
oh my God, terrorists are
I
doing
agree with
terrorist.
Well, I got bad news for you, Adam. A lot of people consider Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu terrorists now. I mean, you keep saying who's to say who's wrong and who started? Well, Israel killed like 500,000 of them, innocent civilians also. So is that terrorism, Adam? Oh, let me guess, that doesn't count. Oh, I wonder why you're saying that, Adam. And let me make myself clear. I've said this millions. It's none of my business what goes on over there. I don't care what goes. I don't care. Whatever they want to do to each other, let them do it. I want America and President Trump to mind their own business. Mind our business. Stop spending American taxpayers' money over there. Stop giving them weapons. Stop subsidizing them for everything. Free college in Israel, free healthcare in Israel. Do American citizens get that? Of course we don't. Oh, you want to go to college here? We're going to charge you, 10 mortgages.
We should definitely eliminate terrorism.
Well, 2026 is going to be a magical year.
But Sosnick is a joke. He's just unbearable. I really believe that Patrick Bet-David gets money from Israel, and that's why Sosnick's on the show to begin with. Because if you look at some of the things that PBD said about Candace Owens getting to the bottom of Charlie Kirk's assassination, it just makes you question everything. I don't trust Patrick Bet-David at all. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros.